Working on this walking practice for just 5 minutes a day can help improve your posture and help you to walk more fluidly, walk with more confidence, and walk with lower impact on your joints. What am I talking about? I'm talking about circle walking. Consciously walking in a circle for short periods of time can help you correct many of the common walking technique mistakes that people make that put them out of alignment and increase the stress on their joints, often leading to pain. It's also going to help you get a better subconscious understanding of how your core muscles work and how you rely on them for proper posture and for smooth, low impact walking. If you're new to the channel, I'm Dr. Todd Martin, creator of The Walking Code. I'm a family medicine physician. I've been in practice for the past 27 years. I'm also a Tai Chi practitioner and dance instructor, and I bring these three disciplines together to help you walk more effectively with lower impact on your joints and help you to prevent or improve pain that you may be getting due to incorrect walking technique. So let's go ahead and get started. First, what I'm going to talk about is some of the common walking technique errors that you'll be able to correct with circle walking. Then I'm going to demonstrate with progressions different ways you can circle walk, and as you progress to more difficult levels of circle walking, you're going to gain a significant amount of knowledge about how your body works. I think you're really going to enjoy this practice, and you don't have to do it for a long period of time to reap the benefits. The first problem that circle walking can help you correct is leaning forward. A lot of people lean forward from their trunk when they're walking. It may be a slight lean, or sometimes it can be a very serious lean. This happens on level ground, but even more often when people walk upstairs or walk uphill. And they lead by bringing their head forward and their trunk forward and pushing into each step. When you're walking in a circle, that becomes much more difficult to do. When you're walking in a straight line, it's very easy to imagine that you're going to get yourself forward by leaning into the step. And that becomes a subconscious habit that people do. You'll really especially see this happening if people walk with a backpack on. They're leaning forward significantly at the waist, creating a very heavy heel strike, which can often lead to significant problems and becomes a very bad habit people do even when they're not wearing a backpack. When we're walking in a circle, it's very difficult to try to lean into the step. If I'm walking in a straight line, my head goes forward and I fall into it. But when I'm trying to move in a circle, it's very difficult to imagine leaning into the step in this sort of manner. So by practicing walking in this circle in a continuous fashion, it's going to help keep your posture more upright. And if you begin leaning, because that's your normal habit, you're going to start figuring out how to take that lean out and get yourself more vertical. And then you're going to be able to translate that vertical posture into your forward walking. The second problem that people often have when they are walking that circle walking can improve is overstriding. When people overstride, the length of their stride begins to expand beyond their pedestal. And when I say pedestal, what I mean is the stable, balanced position that we should have when we're standing and even when we are walking. My pedestal here, when I'm standing up, is a shoulder width stance. If I start bringing my feet out this way, it becomes a much more unnatural position unless I lower my body weight like this. So when we're standing with our legs relatively straight, we have a natural pedestal. And when we're walking, you can measure that pedestal simply by keeping your feet in a shoulder width stance and then pivoting without moving your foot placement. And this is your pedestal when you're walking. And we shouldn't walk expanding beyond that pedestal with our stride, or it's going to increase the impact on our knees and our heels when we contact the ground. And that impact is going to reverberate up our legs into our pelvis and our spine and cause difficulty. When we walk in a circle, it is very difficult to overstride because you're trying to keep a tight circle. So this sort of stepping is going to be harder to do and obviously incorrect when you're walking in a circle. When you're walking in a circle, we realize that all of our movements are really curving. Even when we're walking in a straight line, our core muscles work through rotation, not by pushing ourselves forward. And so you can feel it a lot more clearly when you're walking in a circle like I am now. And then you can translate that into your normal forward walking, which will maintain the pedestal and not have you overstriding beyond that pedestal and increasing the impact on your joints. Some people overstride when they're just walking normally. Other people overstride when they are walking faster. That still becomes a problem. The circle walking practice can help you figure out how to gain speed without increasing the length of your stride by rotating the core muscles faster, not by pushing harder. The third thing that circle walking is going to help you figure out with your own walking technique is how to avoid pushing. When I say pushing, I mean pushing back against the ground to go forward. This is often accompanied by a forward lean. When we walk in a straight line, that lean forward that I already talked about often comes with pushing off from the back of your butt, the glute muscles, and that contributes to the forward lean. When we walk in a circle, we start to feel the proper use of our hip muscles that pull us around and pull us forward. Because when we get to this position, if you try to push yourself using the glutes in the back, you're going to push yourself right out of the circle. When we walk in a circle like this, we can figure out how to feel the correct hip muscle pulling us around the circle, not pushing us around the circle. This is going to smooth out your walk, and it's the same technique that you use when you are walking forward, pulling yourself forward, not pushing yourself forward. The final walking technique error that so many people make that can be improved by circle walking is duck foot walking, walking with your feet turned out. In most cases, this is a simple bad habit that people get into. And when we walk in a circle, it's going to be very clear that we're not able to walk on a tight line, and we end up walking in a circle very clumsily. If you want to walk in the circle, walking along a line that you map out on your floor, you're going to need to keep your feet facing in the direction that you are traveling. And practicing that circle walk will get your core moving in the right direction, and then you can translate that into your body memory over time. And just like with the other correction issues, it will help translate that core movement into walking forward, not with your feet turned out, but with your feet facing straight forward. Now I'm going to show you how you can begin your circle walking practice with an easy technique for doing it, and then progress to different levels of circle walking that are going to help enshrine this core movement into your body memory. The first thing we're going to want to do is just begin walking in a circle. Don't map out the length of the circle. What you want to do is take natural circular steps, and it should get you around the circle in approximately 9 steps. And the best way to start, or the more natural way to start, is with your outside leg forward. So if I'm going to turn to the right, I want to begin with my left leg forward and initiate the turn right there. And from this start, we're going to walk in a circle. And like I said, it should be about 9 steps. So starting with the left leg forward, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I'm about back to my original position. As you do the circle, think about keeping your posture vertical, not leaning into any step. Think about keeping your pedestal in a balanced position. So we're not overstriding, we're not reaching around the circle, we're simply keeping the core rotating, and that moves the feet, and it keeps the feet within this shoulder width pedestal as we're doing the circle. And then we're going to focus on not leaning into the step and crashing onto the heel. As you circle walk, you should notice that at the end of each step, the heel should be hovering just over the ground before you bring it down. This is the same as it should be when you're walking on level ground in a straight forward direction. The heel shouldn't hit immediately at the end of the step. It should pass through this hovering position before bringing it down in a controlled fashion. And as you practice walking in the circle, you'll begin to feel how to bring it down naturally in a vertical posture, rather than what a lot of people do is bring it down by leaning into it. After you've practiced circle walking in one direction, then naturally we need to change directions so we can become more symmetric with our movement. A lot of people move in one direction much better than the other, or they use one hand much more naturally than they use the other hand. They shoot a basketball more naturally with one hand than the other hand. That is also related to your core movement. So when we're walking, we want to be able to smoothly walk in any direction, so we want to practice both directions. So now I'm going to start with my right leg forward and begin the circle, which is going to be going counterclockwise. And practice that with the same focuses of keeping vertical posture, not overstriding, not leaning, and not pushing. It should feel very smooth as you're doing it. Now for the next progression. This is going to help you with your forward walking technique. We're going to begin the circle just like we did, and what we're going to do is consciously exit the circle. And for the first progression, we're going to exit the circle beginning with the outside leg forward, just like we entered the circle. So with my left leg forward, doing a clockwise circle, I begin, and then I decide when I want to exit with the left leg, which is going to be now, and take the circle into a forward walk. And try to do it consciously. Instead of just falling out of the circle, decide which step you're going to exit on, and then consciously try to do it without leaning, without pushing, without overstriding. Just take the same flow that you were using in the circle and just flow out into a straight line. So we are having good posture, no pushing, no overstriding, and we just exit with the same technique. Practice that in both directions. Enter with the outside leg forward, and then exit with the outside leg forward into a straight line. The next progression we're going to do is walking in a figure 8. So we're going to combine the circle with the exit and then another entrance. Now the figure 8 doesn't have to be 2 connecting circles. You can do a couple of steps between exiting the first circle and entering the next circle until you really get it smooth and in your core, and then you can try to connect the circles directly. So we're going to walk in a circle, and then I'm going to exit the circle and then change directions. And so now I've created a figure 8. And I'm going to exit again, and on the very next step, begin the circle in the other direction. Like I said, you can take a few steps if you need to, instead of going directly into it, but always begin the next circle with your outside leg forward. If we're turning clockwise, the left leg is forward. If we're turning counterclockwise, the right leg is forward. That's the much more natural way to enter and exit the circle. For progression number 4, we're going to switch legs. We've been entering and exiting with the outside leg forward, which is the natural way to do it, but we also want to be able to enter the circle with the inside leg forward. So what I mean by that is if I'm going to turn to the right or clockwise, I'm going to begin with the right leg forward and begin the circle right there. I would still exit with the outside leg forward. So I'm going to take a few steps and then get into the circle with the inside leg forward. This uses a different method for placing the heel, which you should start to feel as you practice it. So with the right leg forward, I begin the clockwise circle instead of with the left leg forward. I still want to exit with the outside leg because it's not as natural to exit with the inside leg because you have to do a twist that is in the unnatural position. So always exit the circle from the outside leg forward. So there we have our 4 progressions. Regular circle walk to the right or to the left, entering with the outside leg. Then we had doing the circle walk and exiting with the outside leg forward. Then we had tying 2 circles together to do a figure 8. And then we concluded with entering the circle with the inside leg forward instead of the outside leg forward. As you do each one of these progressions, focus on vertical posture, no forward lean, no pushing, and no overstriding. This is going to help you get a more conscious, fluid, low impact style of walking, and it's going to make you feel much more confident as well as help your joints to feel less discomfort. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, click on the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. You can also pick up one of your Walking is Man's Best Medicine t-shirts. This is a quote from Hippocrates, one of the founders of medicine. If you want to make sure you're keeping your vertical posture when you're walking uphill as well as walking on flat ground, I suggest watching this video right here.